It's 10 o'clock at night. You're logged into the grade portal again. Your thumb already knows the password. You're scanning for the grade that dropped since the last time that you looked. The missing assignment, the test score, the thing that somehow needs to be fixed before it gets worse. I have to tell you something. It's not easy to hear. That habit might actually be part of the problem. Not because you're checking, but because you're the one doing the checking. Most parents think the answer is becoming a better manager, checking more, reminding more, staying on top of everything. But after 25 years of working with teenagers, I can tell you something. The students who become successful are usually the ones whose parents have learned to stop managing and start coaching. And if your teen has ADHD or just can't seem to stay on top of anything, no matter how many times you remind them, this one is especially for you. I learned this from a mom I'll never forget. She did everything a good parent would do. She checked every assignment, sent every reminder, stayed on top of the grades, and somehow, her daughter was still slipping. She looked at me and said the words that I've heard so many times from exhausted parents. Just tell me what to do. What I told her was not what she expected, and it changed everything. She had just sat through her daughter's evaluation. The testing was finished, the results were right there on the table between us. Her daughter had ADHD. The focus problems were there, and I had the data to prove it. Her grades were quietly sliding because of it. But here's what I want you to notice. Before that meeting, she had been carrying a story about her daughter for months. You probably know the story because so many parents go there. She's lazy, she doesn't care, she's choosing not to try. I told her the same thing that I'm going to tell you. It's almost never that simple. What I showed her works for any teen whose grades are slipping, not only a teen with ADHD. Here's what I see from my side of the desk that parents don't always get to see. What looks like not caring is often not knowing where to start. The frustrating part is that school demands the exact skills that teenagers are still building. Planning, starting, keeping track of what's due, following through when something gets hard. So you can have a really bright kid who looks lazy from the outside, but underneath they're overwhelmed because nobody has taught them the system yet. That's not a character flaw, it's a skill gap, and skills can be taught. Now here's why I want you to pay attention, even if your teen does not have ADHD. Because kids with ADHD are some of the hardest kids in the building to teach organization to. It's not an insult, it's literally part of the diagnosis. So when that system works with a teen with ADHD, you know it'll work for just about anyone. And this is the whole reason that I trust this one. I built it with students who struggle the most. And that was the shift that I needed that mom to make before I gave her anything to do. Her daughter was not the problem to fix. The missing habit was. Remember what I said at the beginning about who's doing the checking? Here's what I meant. Most parents with the best intentions in the world accidentally become the manager. They log into the grade portal, they check it at 10 at night, they see the missing assignment before their teen does, and then they carry it. They remind, they nag, they email the teacher, and I understand exactly why. We're scared. Doing something feels better than watching your teen struggle. But here's the problem. The moment that you become the teen's memory, their calendar, their reminder system, they stop building their own. And that'll work for a semester. It might even work through high school, but that bill eventually comes due. Because one day they're sitting in a college dorm room, and you're not there to open the portal. So the goal is not to check harder. The goal is to slowly hand it over. You're not disappearing. You're changing jobs. You're moving from manager to coach. A manager tracks everything for the team. A coach teaches the players how to track it themselves. So here's what I told that mom. I told her what I would do if that were my daughter. I call it the Sunday night check-in. It takes 10 minutes. It's the same system that I've used with students who struggle with organization, motivation, and follow-through for years. First, you pick a time, same time every week. Sunday evening works best for most families because it sets up the week. But the consistency matters more than the day. In the beginning, sit down together, open the grade portal together, not you checking and reporting everything that you found. The two of you sit side by side looking at the same information. That first part is you as the coach. You're watching the film together. Then you ask 4 questions. How did last week's plan go? How are things looking this week? And is there anything lower than you want it to be? And if it is, what's your plan? That last question is the entire shift. What is your plan? Because now your teen has to practice the skill. You're not solving the problem for them, you're solving it with them. And this is not just something that I've watched for 25 years, but research backs it up. There's a whole body of research on what psychologists call the if-then planning. The idea is simple. Instead of hoping that your team will figure it out in the moment, you help them decide ahead of time. If I get stuck in the chemistry homework at 8 o'clock, then I'll do one example problem. I'll message a teacher before I quit. In one study, middle school students who were taught this simple kind of planning improved their grades, their attendance, and even their behavior. This is the engine underneath the Sunday night check-in. You're not nagging, you're helping your team build a plan that they can actually run when you're not in the room. So if a grade is low, help them build their list of moves. You can go in for extra help, you can do test corrections, you can redo the assignments. At the beginning, they might not need help to create that list. That's okay. Coaching doesn't mean throwing them into the deep end. It means teaching them how to swim. Write the options down if you need to. Talk to the teacher, ask for help, corrections, redo. That becomes their playbook. But here's the part most parents miss. Every week you do a little less and they do a little more. At first you open the portal together. A few weeks later, they open it before you sit down. And eventually, they're checking their grades on their own. And you're just the person asking the questions. That's the handoff. You're not stepping away from your team. You're stepping back 1 inch at a time so that they can step forward. And that simple question, what's your plan, is so powerful. Because the moment that your team says the next step out loud, they stop becoming the passenger and they start becoming the driver. So that's what I told that mom. She went home, she picked a night, she started the check-ins, 10 minutes once a week. But the hardest part was not remembering to do it. The hardest part was letting her drive. Because sometimes she knew she could do it faster. She could send the email faster. She could find the missing assignment faster. She could fix it faster. But faster was not the goal anymore. Independence was. And a few weeks later, something changed. And honestly, it was not the grade that I noticed first. It was harder. The same student who used to shrug and say, I don't know, when adults asked about missing work, started to have answers. She knew what was missing. She knew what she needed to do. She knew who she needed to talk to. She knew the next step. Her grade improved significantly. But that was not the biggest win. The biggest win was that she started believing, I could handle this. Her mom stopped being the executive function and she started building her own. That's the difference between a grade that improves in 1 quarter and a skill that follows your child into college and life. I still think about that mom standing there after that meeting, looking at me and saying, tell me what to do. Because so many parents are standing in that same place right now. A smart kid, grade slipping. You're trying everything. You can't understand why it's not working. Now you know. It's probably not laziness. It's probably not that your team doesn't care. It may just be a habit that they haven't built yet. And you can start building it this Sunday. And if you're listening to this thinking, I know I need to step back, but I have no idea how much. This is exactly why I created my free guide, a high school roadmap every parent needs to succeed. The Sunday night check-in is in there, but that's just a small piece of it. The heart of the guide is a year-by-year reality of high school. What actually matters freshman year, what matters sophomore year, what matters junior year and senior year. You're focusing on the right things at the right time instead of just worrying about everything all at once. The link is below this video and it's pinned in the comments. One more thing before you go. The sleeper habit works best once you know what to say in the moment, the night that the grade drops, before the habit is even built. I gave you that exact question in my video, Your Teen Got a Bad Grade, Don't Make This Mistake. 3 parts, 1 conversation. Watch that one next. Then come back and build this into your week. Pick your night. Try 1 check-in this week, 10 minutes. That's where it starts.